Welcome back to Meticulous Mechanic. I'm wrapping up this valve adjustment series job, so check out my playlist to see that. I have the display reinstalled. If you look at my video on removing the headlight, you'll see how that goes back on. I've reinstalled the fender. It's pretty simple. There's just 4 bolts here. Same thing on the other side. As far as the valve adjust job goes, all I have left to do is to reinstall the airbox and the tank and the fake air scoops left and right and the ECU, the aftermarket windscreen, and the pieces that go on the side of the tank. You can check out my tank removal video to see how that goes on. Today's video is going to be about reinstalling the front brake, which I've had sitting over here. I actually had removed it so I could film better on the valve adjust and check series. There's like 40 videos there. Check those out. Before I had started the valve adjust series, I actually had installed new brake pads, so all of this stuff is very new. I have the 4 bolts that mount the brake safely sealed in this bag to keep the dirt off them. I'm going to be reinstalling the pads in this video and then bleeding everything. I had reinstalled stainless steel braided brake lines that I replaced the OEM rubber lines. These are supposed to be stiffer and give you better braking response. I'll attest to the fact that they did stop faster once. I was coming into a corner a little too hot once right after I installed these lines, and they definitely upped the percentage, probably like 10 or 20% over rubber. I don't know if that number is scientific, but that's just from one stopping instance when I had both brakes pressed like down as far as possible. This bike doesn't have ABS, but I had to totally modulate everything, and they did work well. This is the underneath side of the brake calipers. This is the surface that mounts into the fork. There's 4 areas where it mounts. So I'm going to flip those over to get the pads in. I did label it left and right, and I took some of my own videos so I can remember how it goes back. This is the way the stock is set up. You have one line coming down from the master cylinder on the handlebars to the right, and then it jumps over and connects into the left. There is an option where you can run a line directly from here up to the master cylinder and one up from here. But this just seemed to fit better. I had originally ordered the separated ones, but I do like this better. These brakes have 4 pistons. 1, 2, 3, 4. The pads are symmetrical. That's the braking surface in there. The rotor rubs on that, and that's what stops the bike. You can use your fingers just to pull these off, but when I reinstall them, I'm going to use a little needle nose. I am going to put just the tiniest bit of grease on here, just so it'll slide back and forth. You obviously wouldn't want to put a ton on here because you don't want to get grease on your brake pads, but just a little bit, super thin. You have to hold this middle part down with your fingers like this, and then slide that pin in through this hole, and then it's got to go through the 2 brake pads.